It's obvious. It's a hybrid. It's both, and they're interwoven, which I think is very interesting. The fact that it's that love story grows out of that grief and that the pain that they're both feeling. It's through. That's how they connect because again in the beginning there's a lot of tension and animosity between the two, but when they realize that the other person is also has a broken heart, that's how they connect, and that then grows into love. It was very beautifully written both in the book and in the screenplay, and it was such a lovely opportunity as an actor to kind of explore that with Keira.
Of course. Obviously, it's also a story about, compassion and understanding your enemy or supposed enemy, because life is not black and white.
Yeah.
But do you feel that sometimes society these days tends to look at things that way, that everything is black and white and people are good or bad?
Yeah, we tend to make it to simplify things, and that's a narrative that we subscribe to, that it's good versus evil, it's black versus white, and it was very refreshing to read something, especially when it comes to a story about the war or the aftermath of the war, where the other side is portrayed in a three-dimensional fashion, where you understand them and the individuals behind it, and that they're it gives a depth and when these two characters meet, and that tension and how when they finally reach out, they understand that they have a lot in common. And I think that's a very important lesson that we can draw from that in our society, because it's very polarized and we're drifting further and further apart from each other here.
And I find so refreshing also that in days where the industry is so interested in big blockbusters and spectacles, there's still space for an intimate story that evolves around 3 or 4 characters in an intimate space.
Yeah.
Is that rare for you? Like, do you get many scripts like this?
It's difficult to find something that's that intimate and but of that level of quality in the writing. They're far and few between, and it's also a difficult movie to get made, to get financed. So it was a real treat when I got it, because again there are very few movies like these.
Can you talk about creating that chemistry with Keira Knightly? There's very passionate scenes in this film, and
yeah, we had a couple of weeks here in London before we started shooting where we got together and we kind of mapped out the relationship and talked about roughly how we wanted it to evolve and the turning points, and it was a really lovely process to do that with Keira and with James, obviously our director, because it's so rich that it's so interesting to play that, because there's so many different things going on at the same time, and so we had a couple of weeks, which was lovely to have to kind of map it out.
I feel there's a stillness that you instilled into this character, but with a fury that's ready to explode in any moment. How did you channel that energy, and what is your relationship with anger?
Well, he's very composed, Stefan, and refined gentleman, and he doesn't show emotion very easily. So it takes a lot for him to kind of break out of that. But it happens a couple of times in the movie, but I wanted it to be short, quick burst of anger, and then he's able to kind of rein it in and pull himself back. So I didn't want it to overdo that. I just wanted it to, when it happened, I wanted just a little bit to feel like a lot to the audience.
Of course, and he was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
He's also an architect, and I read that there was a point in your life where you were considering training as an actor or an architect.
Yeah.
If you look back, how different do you think your life would be if you had made the other
It would have been
choice?
infinitely better, I think.
Really?
Yeah. When I was a teenager, I wanted to be an architect, and also this type of architecture that Stefan is into is what I'm into, like the Bauhaus movement, and then what later became mid-century modernism. The house that he's designing, that he wants to build in the Alps, is like, that's my dream house. It's stunning, a post and beam house, like all glass. So I don't know. I gave up on the idea of becoming an architect when someone told me when I was late in my maybe early 20s. Someone said, "Well, it's not very creative. It's mostly calculations and math." So I gave up on it. And then 10 years later, a friend of mine who's studying architecture was like, "No, it's super creative. It's a fantastic job." It's never too late. I might go back.
It's true.
Yeah.
Second
go back to
chances.
school. Yeah, exactly.
The film is really moving, and throughout the screening, there were people behind me sobbing all the time. So when you see that your performance gets a reaction like that, do you go like, "Yes, we made it," or you don't really look at that as a...
Well, I'm interested to. We have the premiere tonight here in London. It'll be the first. I've seen the movie, but I just got a screener when I was in Australia shooting a couple of weeks ago. So tonight will be the first time I get to watch it with an audience, and I'm very excited about it. It's going to be interesting to sit in a room and to feel the energy and to feel. I'm a bit nervous about it, but how will they appreciate it? Will they appreciate it? What will affect them? What won't? And it's always interesting to read the room during a screening like that.
But do you get moved easily by films? Is there a movie that always makes you cry?
Yeah, Anchorman makes me cry every time.
Anchorman.
Yeah.
How come?
Heartbreaking.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Recently, you shot After the Aftermath. Are there movies that are quite dark? Do you feel like fascinated by dark subjects these days?
Yes, I did. It's been characters that are going through something is obviously more interesting than characters that aren't. So. And for some reason, for the past 2 years, there's been a lot of quite intense, quite dark characters and intense dark subject matters. So I think I'm ready to do something slightly lighter next.
I know you wanted to do a musical like Mamma Mia.
That would be a dream, yeah. I don't sing.
Oh.
So that might be a bit of an issue.
What about dance?
No.
So how are you going to do
But I'm never going to give up on my dreams of becoming a musical artist.
But the second chance, like architecture.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
The Aftermath shows what happens, the consequence after something really traumatic in someone's life.
Yeah.
So if we have to look at a moment that defined you in your career as an actor, what is that moment after which everything was different?
I don't know if there's one moment that I would say defined me as an actor or changed everything. In terms of, not profoundly internally, there's obviously been moments where I wasn't working at all, and then one project changed the course of my career. True Blood would probably be that project where I had a couple of years where I wasn't working at all, and then I got that and I had no idea whether it was going to be popular or not, and then that kind of changed the direction of my career, or gave me a career, because I didn't really have one before.